guys? Welcome back to Chat with Ash. I am not alone, obviously. I'm joined by KairosTime KT. Welcome to the channel, man. It has been a minute since we talked. It's funny. We just started talking off air, and next thing you know, we're just going, And I'm like, wait, we gotta record. We gotta record.
I'm excited.
Welcome.
I'm excited. In fact, I'm so excited to be on the channel. I decided that today we could match.
Ooh, you got the same bricks. Unbelievable, man. Dude, welcome. KairosTime. Gosh, I don't even know how to intro you, but you're over 1 million subscribers, one of the most viewed Brawl Stars content creators, been playing since before beta started with Clash Royale. You are, to me, the perfect blend of high production value content, very thoughtful content. You can tell you put a ton of time behind, everything that you put out. Very meticulous, it seems like, in your planning and your thought of your content. And also, I love, and I'm a sucker, because this type of content that I tend to make as well, is I love like opinion-based content, and you give a lot of your opinion, and that's what I love. Like, sometimes it's cool to hear the news, but I want someone who's going to give me something, whether I agree or disagree. So welcome to the channel, man. I want to start with like the most basic question ever for you, and that is, what does KairosTime mean? I remember I knew and I forgot. So what does it mean?
Yeah, so it's funny because I think that I say it wrong. So you may have heard of like ethos, logos, and pathos, right? They're like ancient Greek terms that are typically discussed when it comes to like argumentative writing or anything like that. Or there's a lot that goes into it. Well, Kairos is a fourth term, and it's an ancient Greek term that means opportune moment. Although I didn't know how to say it, so apparently it's Kairos is what it is. So it should be KairosTime. Apparently, in regular today speak in Greek, I say weather time. So like it's sunshiny or whatever, or rainy or whatever. So I am both opportune moment time and weather time, neither of which are that interesting, but
it somehow it works though. Somehow it works.
Yes.
It's Kairos time. That's what time it is, damn it.
Yes, it's Kairos time. That's right.
When we first met, I want to say, gosh, I forgot the year. Maybe I don't even know. But either way, we met
2017 or 2018, one of the two.
And you had this massive decision that you were stressing out in your life, right? You're like, okay, if Brawl Stars goes global, because that was during the massive long beta, if Brawl Stars goes global and I start taking off here, and you were already getting like decent views in beta, you were also going to be a doctor, right? So I want to kind of rewind back to those days. In hindsight, do you regret any of the decisions that you made? If my recollection is correct, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you were really close to becoming a doc. Like, you were very, very close. Do you regret going full-time YouTube instead of being a doctor? What does your family think of this? Yeah, fill in the blanks there for us.
Yeah. So first, couple quick clarification.
Yes.
Not a medical doctor, but I was in my doctorate program for physical therapy. So in the medical profession, but a doctorate of physical therapy. So I had completed my 4 years degree in college. I had my bachelor's in science of exercise physiology, which is, well, anyway, I don't even need to talk about that. And then I had completed my first year of my doctorate program. It's the hardest of the 3 years. You go all year round. And when there was you get 1 month of a break after summer internships before your second year starts. And during that one summer month break, was basically when I had the decision to go full-time for Brawl Stars. Previous to that year, I think it was like January or February, I actually met with you in person in Finland. We filmed the Brawl Stars World Champion, or the Brawl Stars global launch stream, and they told us, we have no idea if this is going to go global, but we want this stream ready just in case it does. Yeah. We still might kill it.
We recorded that like a year before it went global, in my recollection.
It was like a year. Yeah, it was close to a year, like 10 to 11 months. And so I remember having a long conversation with you about like that was the first time I had a conversation with a full-time content creator and realized, oh, I can actually do this. Like, I can make money doing this. Yeah. And I've thanked you before, but I've got to thank you again. You were very kind to just break down your finances and where all of your streams of revenue were coming from. And that was really eye-opening to me and basically gave me the determination to try and make it work out, to go full time, because I knew it was no longer like, oh yeah, maybe this could work out. It was like, oh, if Brawl Stars goes global, I've got a good shot. So when during that summer, between my first internship, my summer internship, and when I was going to start my second year, I was invited to go to Finland for some like Reddit AMA, the Brawl Stars Reddit AMA, and there Ryan Lighton sat me down with Lex, and there was also Trickshot there who was in the subreddit, and he was like, "You guys are the first 3 non-Supercellians to know we're doing Brawl Stars. We're going global the rest of later this year." And so when that happened, I lost all motivation to go to school because for me, this was like, I was just having fun with YouTube and everything like that. I started doing Clash Royale content. I thought it was really fun and cool. And then I fell in love with YouTube. And I fell in love with creating videos on games that other people liked to play and that I could share that passion with. And that's really what I became in love with. And so when I had that opportunity to really push it for Brawl Stars, I was so hyped, and I have not regretted it. In fact, if I regret anything, and this is similar to what what Ferg said on his video and Lex said on his video, I wish I would have jumped on sooner. I wish I would have gone full time back when Clash of Clans was doing it, right? Or like that's what I wish I would have done, because I learned more about creating content in the first 3 months of me going full time than I did in the first year or 2 of me even creating content, which is crazy. But that's when I really started studying like content creation. I started really investigating like Mr. Beast and looking at all sorts of what I started doing is I just had a journal, and I would just go and I would watch. I would open up an incognito window on Chrome, and I would just pull up YouTube of that day and just watch whatever it recommended to me. And I would take notes of like, why did I click on this? Why is this video popular? Why am I watching it? And if there's ever a time when I wanted to click off, I would write down, why did I want to get off the video? And so I took all that knowledge that I took from like studying for physical therapy and like all like my doctorate and through college and everything like that, and I just applied it to YouTube, and I became a student of YouTube, so that when Brawl Stars went global, I had a lot of viral type content that was ready to blow up when you and OJ and Molt and Galadon all brought your audiences to Brawl Stars.
Was that scary? That's a good point, because I've never gotten your perspective or Lex's perspective on this, but you're grinding hard, and I'm sure the mini creators will go through this as well, right? You're grinding hard in a game all through a 2-year beta. You know this game inside and out. You're every day. And then it goes global, and all of a sudden, all these, these big guys, these guys from the other Supercell games all try to jump on the bandwagon because they're afraid their game's going to die, and they want the views and the hype of a new game. Like, let's just call it what it is, right? Yeah. So did you get kind of like, I don't want to say offended or anything like that, but maybe territorial, like, okay, here they all come, or did you look at it as a good thing?
Dude, it was a massively positive thing, and I knew it would be. Yeah. Like, in my time of studying, like, what happened was I went full-time YouTube for like 3 months before Brawl Stars went global. And so, because I just had enough savings that I could just live off of that, and like, I was not making any money at all during those 3 months, but my whole plan was to make as many viral content for the global audience so that when OJ's video on Brawl Stars was released, and all of a sudden everyone around the world could play it, they would watch OJ's video. What was going to be recommended next? It was going to be my Brawl Stars video that was already like a trendy video that YouTube already had a lot of data on that says, oh, when people watch a Brawl Stars video, they always click on this video, so we're going to share it. And so I went from 50,000 subscribers to 150,000 subscribers within the first month of Brawl Stars Global. And then the next month, I gained an additional 100,000 subscribers and brought me up to 250,000. Like, after 2 months of Brawl Stars Global, because I had the luxury of going full-time beforehand and prepping that content, which a lot of the other Brawl Stars content creators didn't have that opportunity to do so. It was a risky play, but I was kind of in a situation where I went to my doctorate program, and the dean, I was like, hey, could I come back in a year if this doesn't work out? And he was like, yes, you can come back. We'll give you 1 year. And so I put all my eggs in a basket and I just went for it. And I knew that, worst case scenario, I could just get a job at Walmart or whatever and like just survive until the next year of school started if I didn't make it on YouTube. So it was a risk for me, but I'm really glad I did it, obviously.
Absolutely. And to your point, you know, and I would encourage any creator is when you have bigger creators in this space or bigger creators come into the space, to your point, it's like, it's always a good thing. You know, it's always, it can feel at first like, oh my God, like, you know, I'm no longer the big fish in the small pond, but it's always good because they bring all those viewers as well. Have you ever thought about going back and finishing your degree ever? Or at this point, are you like, okay, this is my life now?
So I have come to really appreciate making a living off of something that I really enjoy doing a lot. And I know I could have done well with physical therapy, and I know I could have like really become passionate about it, but I don't think that that passion would have come immediately. I think it would have come after years of experience when I could finally stand on my own 2 feet and like actually be able to like make a good difference in people's lives. And I know that I know that could have been very fulfilling, but this is very like emotionally fulfilling for me now. And I love doing it. So yeah, no, I'm pretty happy where I'm at the moment.
You strike me as somebody who, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here, but like actually cares about, to your point, like becoming a doctor, giving back and making this world like a better place, not to sound like super corny about it, but you know, your legacy, I guess. So I want you to extrapolate a little bit on what about YouTube, other than just the video game, I mean the Brawl Stars in this case, what is it and how do you kind of pick and find those moments to actually feel like you're making a greater impact? You know, I have my kind of opinions on what you do to make that impact, but I'm wondering from your perspective.
That's a really good question. And I'm sure that if I had a lot of time to think about it, then I would probably come up with something slightly better or different. But I really enjoy just making just adding some joy to people's lives. You know, when people leave comments and say that they watch my content and it always makes their day a little bit brighter, that really makes me happy a lot. It makes, you know, it's enjoyable. The thing is that gaming's been around for years. It's been around since the beginning of the world, right? Ever since humans have existed, we have played games. Whether they're, you know, they're not mobile games or video games or whatever, but people have always enjoyed being able to connect with other humans through something they're passionate about and that they love. And I think that that's very important, because without it, I just think that the life would just be a little bit more dull. And I like being able to do that. And also, there's a lot of people that, you know, create content that maybe are not the best role models. Or maybe that aren't family friendly.
You think?
Yeah, and I have no issues with people creating non-family friendly content. I think that that's great, and that definitely has its place for people that are not in that family situation. But you know, I have parents that come up to me, or when their kids recognize me in public and their parents are there, their parents are always like, "You're always one that I know I can always let my kids watch on YouTube, no matter what, and I never have to worry about that." And so, thank you for being that, because you know, it's not like YouTube has a rating system. It's not like they're G-rated or PG or PG-13 or whatever. Like every video and every creator, it's a lot for parents to even be able to like filter that out.
Right.
And I don't even let my kids watch YouTube just because I don't have the time to be able to filter that out for them. It's not that I don't want them to. I just don't want to take the time.
Like, again, I'm going to sound like an old dinosaur like I did in like all of these podcasts, to be frank. But like, but it's like when we were kids, man, if there was like a parental advisory sticker on a CD or a cassette or whatever, I'm really dating myself here. Like, forget it, man. Like, I'm never going to listen to that, you know, or I have to smuggle it in somehow. You know, and then you go into every sorts of media, right? Whether it be gaming or anything else, there were like really strict guidelines, you know, at least in my household, but even in society, I feel like. But nowadays, like, it's easy to access anything and everything. It's terrifying as a parent, you know, in a way, because it's like,
it is.
To your point, it's very difficult to stop that, or to police that, I should say, to monitor that. But I totally agree, man. Like, I think it's like, it's weird because you don't strike me as, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a pretty private person, you know, publicly, you know, you don't talk a ton about yourself. It's more of just your energy, really, is what it's not about Brawl Stars, no offense to Brawl Stars, but it's something about the energy that you put out. And I think that it's hard to articulate, but I think that's, to me, you make a profound impact in a lot of people just by your energy. And I guess it's, to your point, kind of like a role model, you know?
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know how true it is, but I do like to be positive, and I like to give that positive energy to people. I think that especially online, there's a lot of loud voices and people try to just be on the extreme of so many different sides of any type of topic.
Yeah.
And I really like to try and show people that it's almost always gray. There are some blacks and whites, but most of the time, there's a reason why, even like game developers, there's a reason why game developers make decisions that are unpopular. Sometimes they're the right decisions, sometimes they're the wrong decisions. Most of the time, they're just trying something, and maybe it screws the players over, but you know, there are more times than not, they're trying to fix an issue that's actually into the game. And sometimes that is monetization, which I know that I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying that, but games need to make money in order for them to be able to continue producing games. So.
Well, I do want to talk about a lot about kind of not necessarily about Brawl Stars the game, but about like the general zeitgeist around Brawl Stars right now. But before we get to that, I wanted to touch on something that you just mentioned, and it's something that I worry a lot about, probably way more than I should. I'm a worrier by nature, which is a massive fault of mine. But it's about the polarization and the tribalism of everything today, right? Which you just mentioned.
Everything.
And, you know, I can guarantee not on this podcast are either of us going to like solve this issue at all. But I wanted to get your thoughts because you're such an insightful person with a lot of like, you know, interesting takes on stuff. Does it concern you as much? And obviously the easy stuff is like politics and stuff like that. But I feel like it's almost, it's like maybe grounded somehow in political ideologies, but it's really everything, you know, like I feel like almost every year that goes by, there's new things that are somehow politicized. And again, I don't mean in a traditional political sense, but I mean like it can be, you know, I feel like even saying the word vaccine, I'm going to get thumbs downs and people like, it doesn't matter what it is, global warming, vaccine, anything, but it goes beyond that to media and anything, you know, and it feels like there's one side and there's the other side. And that's why sometimes, man, what I appreciate the most, it's just people who have varying opinions, because I'm like, wow, they can think for themselves. That's awesome. Like, even if they disagree with me, I don't even care. But it's like, so what are your thoughts on that? It seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't even.
No, I think you said it. It's, I just have a lot of the same feelings that I think that you do, whether or not, because you and I, we've had a lot of really good discussions about stuff that we very much disagree on, that have a profound impact on our individual lives. And like you've been open about how you feel about, you know, atheism or being agnostic, or I forget what it is right now for you.
Atheist
but, you know,
is good. Yeah.
You've said atheist, I've said Christian, and like we've had really good conversations about that. And the thing is people are forgetting how to have conversations with other people of the opposite side.
So true, right?
Because I think that what they think is that people are on opposite sides, when in all reality, we're probably on the same side, and we just have a different perspective and are trying to solve problems differently, or we have different life experiences. And I think that we can learn from each other. No matter what the situation, the topic, or anything, I think that it's important to have an open mind and be willing to discuss things and be polite about it. Because you know what? Just because somebody has a different opinion than you does not make them any less of a person. They are just as much of a person as you are, and their opinions, whether correct or not, or whether they agree or disagree with you, are just as valid as yours. And that's just the truth, because they are just as much a person as you are. Like, we are on equal playing field. Doesn't matter race, economics, it doesn't, like, nothing matters. You are a person. And that's how I like to see things. And I think people are just forgetting that there are people behind the opposition.
No, it's absolutely true, with different lived experiences, you know. And it's a shame, man. I really wish, this is something that I always try to, you know, it's tough as a gaming content creator to make a real strong imprint on, you know, the world in this way. But this is why the least we can do is talk about it and hopefully get through, especially to the younger generations, you know, because I feel like the older sometimes people are, the more stubborn and stuck in their ways they can get, you know?
I become more stubborn every day.
Same. But like, I always try to stay true to, you know, as somebody who is an atheist, I'm also very interested in like Buddhism and spirituality and theology, you know, and but I love to understand what I'm talking about too. And I feel like sometimes when you have that mentality of that, okay, the other side's wrong, it stops you from investigating and learning, right, about different point of views, which even if it doesn't change your mind, at least you're more knowledgeable in the area and you can have more, whatever, resolve in your own beliefs and your own whatever ideologies you have. So, yeah, man, I think it's something that's concerning nowadays, and it puts us against each other all the time. And obviously there's so many different dynamics, social media, the media in general, everything that kind of plays into this funnel that we're all seem to be, I don't know, more and more trapped in, not to be so pessimistic about it, but I have to rewind a minute, dude. I'm sorry. I probably told this story like 2 or 3 times now since it happened. You mentioned the chat, the plane chat. Dude, sometimes you have these moments in life where
you never forget them because
you never forget them. And like, I don't know if this hits the same for you as it does for me, because we probably had like a 2-hour conversation and we had just met like in real life. We had talked before, but we were sitting next to each other on the plane in first class. Supercell was flying us out, the whole 9, and it was great. And I thought, in my recollection, of course, we were just having like a pretty chill. It wasn't like a debate. It was like nice friend talk. But it was one
of the best discussions I've had with somebody about religion, especially when you consider the fact that we have such different views.
Yes.
It was so great. I loved it. I felt like we both got something out of it. And there was something that happened at the end of the conversation that totally just pissed both of us off.
And I'm gonna let you say what it is. Because, dude, it's something that I'm gonna sound like so cheesy here and frail.
But this lady rarely let my blood boil. Like, very few things piss me off, and I got so pissed off. Like, I was so angry. Like, I was like, wait, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Dude, this is like this lady, this moment. It's funny because I don't even know if I would remember the conversation. I think I would, obviously, because it was such a good convo and it was so deep. To your point, like me as an atheist and Kairos as a devout Christian had this 2-hour conversation where basically it was not even a debate. It's just like a candid conversation. Here's the problems I have with this, or this. Here's what I can't wrap my head around. Here's what I want to be able to understand. But like a great productive conversation, which is to your point, which people need to do more often nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So we had like, and it's almost scary to have those conversations.
It is,
but it felt so good. And we were wrapping up the combo, and this lady came from, like a few seats back, not even like right next to us. And man, like, dude, I say it like with a smile on my face or looking back, but like, I still think of this and like get sad, man, honestly, like emotional. I get shooken by it, but she just basically came over. My recollection of it was, she goes, hello, or something like that. And like, we both were like, hey, like happy go lucky, right? Like, hi.
We just had a great conversation.
And she's like, she looks right at me, bro. And she's like, you have diarrhea of the mouth.
Oh.
And I was like, and do you remember my response? Do you remember my response or no?
I remember you handling it well, but honestly, what I remember most is all the comebacks I wish I would have said.
Dude, I think, again, this is like 6 years ago or whatever, but if my memory serves me, I was like, well, you have diarrhea of the face or something like that. Something super juvenile.
If I remember, you were, I don't think that you had like a response. I think that you were like, I'm sorry. Or like neither of us had, it was so just out of the moment. Like, we had this great conversation. It was uplifting for both of us. And she just came in there and it was just totally shook me. I had no idea what she was even talking about. And it wasn't until afterwards that we were like, wait, what just happened? That I recognized that she was like criticizing us for having for sharing.
I don't even know how she could have heard the combo.
I know, it was a loud plane.
Yeah, it was like, how planes are with the air? It was like loud, And I didn't think we were being that loud anyway, whatever. So I probably do have diarrhea in the mouth. That's just, inconsequential to the combo.
We probably both do.
It was just one of those things that like we were pouring our hearts out, I was talking about like my loved ones that passed away and religion and everything. And you're talking about how much it means to you. And then she's like, and I thought she was going to say something like, you guys had a great, like, I don't know, this like nice old lady. Anyway, that was a side tangent, but that was that will always stay with me, man. Obviously,
I don't know if I'll ever forget that. In fact, when you sent me a message like, "Hey, do you want to talk about this?" It was like one of the first things I thought about, because it was such a. I just don't think I'm ever gonna forget it. It was one of the worst moments of my life, which might sound like extreme.
Wow, same, man.
But it was. It
I was
really
so
was.
vulnerable at that moment. So
Dude.
I guess the takeaway is...
And I felt that way for you too. Like, I was like, oh, it's so awesome that he's willing to like share his feelings with me. And, you know, even knowing that we disagree, like that we can both be open to each other. There's something so like human about just opening up and being vulnerable with another person that is willing to accept you for who you are, even if they disagree with you. It's an amazing feeling. And I hope that everybody that is watching this can experience that someday. And it was so unfortunate how it ended, but I'm glad that both you and I were able to walk away from that and feel like we both recognize that she was the unfortunate person in that situation, that clearly she is stubborn in her own ways and is likely to never change and is unlikely to have that type of experience that you and I did when we were vulnerable with each other.
100%, man. I think it's a good, honestly, it is a good like lesson for people out there, you know, because I'm sure everybody listening to this right now, like 99%, has somebody in their life that they disagree on a lot of stuff with, like a lot of important stuff to them. And, you know, it's sad today in the world that we live in that we don't have to be enemies. We don't have to be, you know, we really don't. And that's very challenging. It's not easy. It's not easy, especially when you get into more sensitive topics like religion and stuff like that, you know. But anyway, no easy transition out of this one, KT, but I will ask you, is Brawl Stars dying?
That's a good question.
Is Brawl Stars in trouble? You said in your honest take of the last update, which was about, I want to say 2 weeks old.
Yeah, something like that.
You said multiple times, quote, Brawl Stars is in trouble. So I'm assuming you still feel that way a few weeks later. Why?
Well, the title of the video and what I said sounds very dramatic, and it really is. And I'm making it sound like a bigger deal than it is. And honestly, when it comes to those 100% honest review videos that I do, one of my biggest goals is to be the bridge between the developers of Brawl Stars and the players. I love to be that. And my goal is in those videos for me to go to the players and say, players, this is why Supercell is doing this. And then be able to, because I know that the developers do watch my 100% honest update review videos. They have asked me, you know, they brought up, they have like a, before the video gets released, I'm pretty sure they make bets on what I'm going to rate the update. And like, you know, they always try and discuss it. So like, I know they're watching it, and I want to go to the Supercell developers, the Brawl Stars developers, and tell them this is why the players are so upset right now. And I want them to be able to understand. And the thing is all of us want Brawl Stars to be the best game it can possibly be. So I want to be that bridge. And so my whole point with that whole video is I just wanted the audience to understand the trend that Brawl Stars has been experiencing. And that has been a downward trend ever since 2020, basically. It's been going downhill little by little. And nothing that the Brawl Stars team has done has been able to turn that trend around. And their whole goal with this update was to make some changes to try and make that happen. So Brawl Stars has been in trouble. The hope is that this update and the previous update and the next update are going to be what turns things around and brings it up. Is the game dying? Dying is such a strong word for what the game is experiencing right now. It's not dying. The game is actually still doing really well. Viewership on Brawl Stars, like, I just reached 7 million views in the last month for Brawl Stars content, and I've only done that like 4 or 5 times ever in the history of the game. Part of that has to do with me actually experimenting with shorts, but like, there's definitely a lot of interest in the game. The game is not dying.
No, there's millions of people play, obviously. Yeah.
Exactly. The game is so exciting and so fun, and honestly, I think that the game is more fun to play now than it ever has been. That's just the truth of it. But Brawl Stars did make some unpopular decisions in the most recent update, and some of them I agree with and some of them I disagree with. And my goal was to just let the viewers know, or the players know, that they aren't doing them lightly. They're making these decisions because they're trying to they're trying to change the trend, to bring it back up instead of having it consistently fall down like it has been.
Do you think after, 5 years or so that it's this is just an inevitable part of a game's life cycle, that, the glory days, so to speak, have passed, and the game will still do very well, but just not as well as it was in the past?
I don't think that that's the case. I think that is the case for most games, but it's not inevitable. I think we can take a look at Clash of Clans as an example. We can take a look at Minecraft as an example. Like Minecraft has had massive downs and massive ups. And like there are games and developers that have been able to defy all odds and continue to grow over long periods of time. And I want Brawl Stars to be that. And that's why I talk about the game with such seriousness when it comes to my 100% honest reviews, because I want the developers to make decisions that will boost the game. Because the better the game is doing, the more they can invest in awesome things like the esports scene, which esports doesn't make money from most games. The where all the money comes from is typically from the game developers. That's really where it comes from. And I love esports. But I can't help but notice that prize pools are lower this year than they were last year because the game's making less money. And I want that to happen. I can't help notice that we're not seeing these full, massive animations that we saw for Brawl Stars when it was in its heyday. I can't help but notice that their development in Brawl Stars' storyline when it comes to like the investor video and Star Park lore and everything like that has kind of come to a halt. I mean, we're still seeing it a little bit, but it's not to the fantastic scale that it was in 2020. And I want that again. And so in order for that to happen, they have to make more money. They have to grow their audience. They have to get more views or get more players.
Yeah. Do you think that Supercell is interesting? And this is, maybe hitting you with a curveball a little bit here, but I'm not sure if it's something you think about because I don't hear creators talk about this that often. How do you feel about Supercell's marketing strategy? Or lack thereof, I guess, when it comes to their games. I say lack thereof. Obviously, they have, namely in Brawl Stars, they were in Mr. Beast, Squid Games.
And while they're fighting for their chance in this competition, I want to tell you guys about Brawl Stars, who helped fund this video, which cost over $3.5 million. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Which I heard was super unsuccessful, actually.
It has mixed reviews at Supercell.
Yeah, I won't give up any of my sources.
Which I can't share anybody's individual personal opinions. But
I heard this. I heard that it drove millions and millions and millions of players, and it was all crap users. Like basically, that's a mean way to put it, but like they deleted after a day, essentially, or a very, very long, like the quality of player was down. But anyway, I say all that to say we don't have the data, so we don't know. But I say, sometimes I see these ads constantly for every other mobile game in the world, and I'm like, man, that would be awesome.
Legends.
yeah.
Forget everything you think you know about mobile gaming.
And well, they spend $5 million. Granted, this is part of their model. Like this is part of their strategy in launching the game, and it's quite different. But with all that being said, is they spend $5 million plus a month on just influencer marketing. This is other games, whereas
I'm glad they do.
Whereas Supercell, certainly it helps our CPMs, right? Like when these games advertise, but Supercell does not, right? They don't. Very few and far between, I should say, right? In terms of certainly influencer marketing. Do you think that they should? Do you think they should?
Well, I think that they already are. Slowly, I think they're ramping things up. I mean, the whole. You know more about the whole chess royale thing than I do. Like they've been doing a lot of different types of things. They had campaigns. From like they did Clash of Clans campaigns with old school RuneScape content creators, which I only happen to notice because I play a lot of old school RuneScape. But
I remember that about you, yeah.
So they are. It just hasn't been as much as previous, and I think that what their goal is not to like completely change how they've done things ever, because Supercell has always typically grown just because of word of mouth, and I think that it allows them to focus on other things and allows them to spend more money on development and improving their games than it does on actual advertising, and I think that overall their take on it is healthy. As a content creator who creates content on YouTube, I would love it if they tried to do a lot more ads on YouTube, because that would bring more viewers to my channel. But as for what's healthy for the actual game, I think it's honestly best for them to focus on making the game more fun and enjoyable. It's funny because Squid Game happened right before their most unpopular update ever in Brawl Stars history. It was when they released Gears, and it was when they released Club League. Yeah. Sorry, it was Brawl Stars' version of Clan Wars, right? And they made some silly decisions with Club League when it comes to golden tickets, if you guys are aware of that, which they soon rectified. But then it took them basically 8 months for them to improve gears, and everybody's feedback on YouTube was, gears are bad, this is terrible, what the heck are they thinking, this makes absolutely no sense. A lot of what Clash Royale was experiencing, but for Brawl Stars, it was the only time we had really experienced that. So for those 8 months, it was pretty awful. In fact, I made 2 videos, an hour long, listing all of the issues with gears. And in fact, I know that you're probably wanting to talk a little bit about me quitting Reddit.
That is the next topic, talk about, my friend. We'll
talk about that. Well, this is actually where all that started, okay?
Okay.
And that was that I outlined every single issue with gears, and gears are okay now. But back then, they were awful. Every single design aspect from it that I could possibly perceive of it, like, it was just not good. They just could have done better. It was highly monetized. It was uninteresting. You bought power that wasn't worth the coins, and like didn't even give you that much of an advantage. But all of a sudden, in order for you to max out your account, you had to spend 50% more time or 50% more money on the game. It was just bad.
Yeah.
And I outlined that, and the community was like, "This is the best video ever. Somebody is speaking our opinions." I haven't heard anybody outline all of my issues with gears to a better ability than what Kairos just did. It was on Reddit. The community was like praising me as the voice of the community and saying, "Praise Kairos because he has our backs. He's willing to go and fight against Supercell for us. And Supercell's the enemy and we hate them. And Kairos is the one person that can actually make a difference." And I had bittersweet feelings about that. I was like, cool, I'm the voice of the community.
I wanted to ask before you but you're answering the question already. Like, you got to be real. It feels good when you're like that.
It does feel good to like, to be,
I don't care who you are,
toxic,
you know?
But to have all these people praising for you or bandwagoning with your opinions and saying, yes, Supercell, what Kairos said is right. He's like that felt good. But I say it was bittersweet because at the same time, I know that the developers, like I've met, maybe I don't know all the developers individually now, but at some points I have known every single individual Brawl Stars developer, and I know how passionate they are about the game. These are not developers that don't care about the game. They are very passionate about it. They care more about the game than 99% of the players. Like, genuinely, they do.
Sure.
And for me to take 2 hours and just hammer every single piece of like detail of why their update was crap and why I hate it and why it was terrible and how me as a non-developer could have made something so much better, which is like, you know, like, which is not the truth because I don't know how to develop a game. But at the same time, it just made me feel bad because I didn't like the fact that Brawl Stars was in this situation where the players were rioting against the developers. So it really sucked for all of these people watching Squid Game and downloading Brawl Stars and then looking up content about Brawl Stars and what's the highest trending topic? Oh, it's Kairos time, talking about how crappy
so
this
you're
update
responsible is what you're saying, man.
I'm not saying that I am, but I can't help but think that it had some of a negative impact on that.
Well, I think you're being too hard on yourself.
I'm not saying that myself personally,
no,
but the general sentiment within the community, the whole community, was that the update was not good.
Yeah. But of course, like, you got to remember too, is that even for every millions of viewers that you get, I mean, there's obviously millions of players that don't even consume anything, you know, and just download Brawl Stars and just enjoy it for what it is and don't think too much about it after they put it away or whatever. And so I think that ultimately the game always stands on its own. But I want to go back to, like, I have so many different areas that I want to tackle on, and it parlays into the conversation regarding you quitting Reddit, right? But I'm so interested in, this is the biggest thing. So I understand a few things about media in general after doing YouTube for a decade, and I'm sure you do as well. And one thing I understand is, and everybody intuitively knows that negativity sells. I mean, we get it, right? But
I mean, you just look at the title of my honest review. Like, if I would have said this update was justified and kind of annoying, but also fine, nobody would have clicked on the video.
Yeah. Or just, I mean, the title of the video is Brawl Stars is in trouble, 100% honest. But if you had put it like just 100% honest review, like it would have had an impact. Like maybe not a massive one because people know these, they expect these out of you. But I guess I say all that to say that like it's given me a really up close and personal view to how effective negativity is when it comes to getting eyeballs and interest in engaging conversation, comments, everything, right? It absolutely baffles me that if I take the same video saying the same thing, to your point on the Brawl Stars review, and title it a little bit more negative, it will have a massive direct correlation to how many people watch it. And it's such a sad state of affairs because, yeah, sure, in video games, it's not that big of a deal, really. But when you take that about everything else, you wonder why the news media nowadays, you wonder why it seems like it's more and more negative news. It's because there is a lot of positive news. There's tons of it, but nobody cares. No one wants to click or watch or whatever, you know, and how do you make a living and satisfy investors and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a really weird dichotomy, but I don't know, has your experience been the same as a creator, like seeing not just YouTube, but just seeing the profound effect of negativity?
Profound effect of negativity, 100% honest, or 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just like, it just sucks, but that's the way that things are. I do think the positivity can have a profound impact as well. It's just a little bit harder to sell, but I think that it's really great. When it comes to actual content on YouTube, though, I think that one of the best ways for you to kill your own audience is to just be negative, because at least when it comes to creating content on a mobile game, and I know that this is the whole reason why you ended up leaving Clash Royale, is because you felt like all of your opinions were basically negative because it's been so long, right?
Well, yeah, and it's weird though, because deep down, if I'm honest, man, like, I don't even know what the hell I believe half the time, man. Like half the time I'm so entrenched in Reddit posts and Twitter posts and comments. And like, sometimes I think that it's like, it's tough to just admit that like, yeah, who cares, bro? It's just a game. Like, you know, like sometimes I felt that way, but I felt like I needed to talk about it because so many of my, like 90% of my viewers seem to be pissed all the time. Yeah. So I think that kind of drove me, even in a subconscious way, looking back, to make more negative content than I would like to, you know? Yeah. And it's something I still struggle with my other channels, you know? Like, it's weird. You want to be a voice of the people to a certain extent and feel like you're voicing these valid concerns, which are valid. But at the same time, sometimes it drives you in a direction that's just not true to your own, like, honest beliefs, you know? Yeah.
Well, and the other thing as well is that if you're a gamer or a gaming content creator, if you talk about all the issues why the game is struggling, then there is a non-zero number of people that will watch that video that will uninstall the game because of it. Yeah. And then they're not going to watch your content. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it sucks. Like I think it's decent. I do like selling negativity and then spinning it into something positive, if that makes sense. Like, no, I really enjoy that too. Yeah. I really enjoy like grabbing people's interest and then being like, hey, listen to my thoughts here. What you guys are saying, I understand where you're coming from, but have you thought about looking at it this way? Because this is also and then try and like show them, hey, there's still a lot of breath and, you know, life in the game, and this is fun and exciting. It's really hard for a situation where like Clash Royale was, where it had just gone on for so long. And I can't, I have a little bit of a taste of what you experienced, but not very much, honestly. I left the Clash Royale community a long time ago.
There's a way to do it without, like, you look at look at a guy like Tag, you know, for example. Like, the first guy that comes to mind is, he pretty much stays out of anything opinion based, you know. He just like covers the game and seems to enjoy it, you know. So like, there's ways to go and have success. Like, he has a lot of success, you know. Other guys too, there's a lot of them in Clash. But I think it's more of my, like, I think for me, my negativity was also compensating for my lack of compelling content. You know, it was the easy way out, right? It's easy
it was
to just
easy content to make. Yeah,
it's easy to hit record and be like, okay, people are mad, and here's why, and you know, like
Yeah.
that's really easy. When I thrived for 6 or 7 years by inviting pros on the channel, but now they have their own YouTube channels. What the hell am I gonna do? You know, so that's kind of what I felt at the time, and looking back, it's not like I regret. I don't feel like really awful making negative content, because I feel like the community was in a really bad spot, and probably still is. I don't know, you know, but at the same time, I felt like the hate gets way out of hand too. Like, you know, again, I'm not really saying anything super controversial here, but like the level of ire that some very small minority of community members direct at community managers, it's like so messed up, man. It's like, these are just people trying to do their jobs, you know? And like, even though I was plenty negative a lot, like, what the hell are they thinking, blah, 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 rightfully so, it's just like, I can't for the life of me understand the personal attacks. And I feel like that's becoming more and more pervasive in gaming, you know?
Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Hey, I want to talk about you quitting Reddit. So
yeah,
let's go all the way back. And here, I'll pull up the post as well. We won't read the entire thing, but you basically say that it's like TLDR. Hopefully I'm summarizing this correctly, but you're quitting Reddit. You were you know, like, to your point, you would put like a long effort post and engage here and there and a lot of lurking and stuff and just, you know, keeping up with the community. But it's taken a massive negative toll on your mental, especially after the comments and the criticism that you received after your honest review video. People basically thought that you were too positive. I want to make, like, the point I was trying to make, you know, before, just a quick rewind, is that this is the most messed up thing about the entire negativity selling from a content creator standpoint. And I wish people listening right now would get this through their heads. It is so much more difficult and worthy of applause, whether you agree or disagree, for speaking their mind, to be positive as a content creator. You get so much hate for being positive. I cannot articulate it. Obviously, you were negative and you still got attacked for being positive.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about this whole situation. How did
So like I said, it started way back when I talked about the gear update, right around when Squid Games happened, because they kind of praised me as the voice of the community.
Yeah.
And where this update dropped, there was a lot of people that were pretty much like, oh, I'm interested to see what Kairos has to say. And even before I released the video, I would see comments of people being like, oh, Kairos is just a shill. He's on Supercell's payroll. He's not gonna be honest with his thoughts. And it's just like, it drove me nuts, because like, anyway, even before I had shared any thoughts, people are already speculating that I'm not going to be honest because I might disagree with them. And the thing is about my video is I listed so many reasons and things that I wish that Supercell would have done better. And I listed so many of the issues that I had with the update. I was overall negative about the update. But there was one thing that I said, hey, I know this is unpopular, but I don't think it's as big of an issue as people are making it. And that was what people were clipping and sharing on YouTube.
Was that the only 6 brawlers being added with the thing or whatever?
No, it was the fact that so Brawl Stars increased their power level between levels.
Gotcha.
Or the power between levels. So like Clash Royale's interesting. You know how you get 10% increase between levels?
Yeah.
So Brawl Stars was 5% a buff between levels, but it was based off of level 1. And so the percentage didn't scale up. It was just an incremental increase. And it was only 5%.
Gotcha.
So what they did is they increased that 5% to a 10%. So it's still nowhere near as, like, the power level discrepancy is still nowhere near what it is in Clash Royale. Not even close, even after they made that change. But they made the change because they felt that there needed to be a reason to upgrade your brawlers. And my point was, I agree. I like there to be an actual reason for me to upgrade my brawlers. Because they do it based off of power 1, the difference between power 10 and 11 is smaller than the difference between power 1 and 2. And so like you get less power for each upgrade. And so what people would do is they just get their brawlers at the power 9, and you could easily play against power 11s. And there was no reason to upgrade your brawlers. There just really wasn't.
Understood,
and for me, I'm like, I like to play a game that rewards my time and my money to give me a little bit of an advantage. I like that. I like progression. That's good. I like that. I don't want it to be too strong, but that was my opinion, you know? And the thing is I knew this was going to be an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
And I said that. I was like, guys, I know this is unpopular opinion. I know that so many people will disagree with me, but I care more about being honest with my own thoughts and sharing my own personal opinions than I care about being popular. And so I said that. And you know what? People might even comment on this video and say, Kairos, you're a shill. Whatever. Like, but then
top comment, really you called it now.
No, Kairos is a shill. You know, that's fine. If somebody posts that, you can heart it. It'll be funny. But that's the thing, is that it's just my opinion, and I recognize that there are other people. And I said that very clearly in the video. Well, what happened was people took a clip of me saying, I'm okay with this, and they shared that on Reddit. And then people that didn't even watch the video were saying Kairos is an idiot. How can he like this update? I spent 45 minutes, an hour and a half recording to share all of my thoughts, and they are going to base their entire opinion based off of one clip that somebody else shared, and they're going to share that opinion. And what it got to the point for me was that I can't spend so much time caring what people think when those people don't actually take the time to watch my videos and are going to be speaking behind my back. If they were to come to me and talk to me and say, I disagree with you and here's why, they can say any profanity, they can throw me under the bus, they can whatever, and I am okay with that if they're willing to talk to me and if they are willing to listen to my thoughts. But I can't look at the Brawl Stars subreddit anymore because that's not what's happening. It's people sharing opinions or, you know, TLDRing a 45-minute video in a light that is just not accurate of how I actually feel. And it got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I don't need this negativity in my life. I don't need to try and explain myself to people that don't actually care about me and don't even care about having a relationship with me. And so I'd rather just not see it at this point. To say that it was having a profound negative impact on my life is a strong thing to say. And it is how I feel. But honestly, this decision happened more as a preventative measure to just prevent it. Because I want to make my 100% honest update review videos, and I want to be 100% honest with myself. I don't care as much about being the voice of the community or the voice of Supercell as much as I care about being honest with myself and being a voice of reason. And the thing is that a lot of times those different perspectives butt heads with each other, and it just makes me feel like angry and deep, you know, just like unsettled inside. And I think it's just easier for me to share my thoughts. I love my YouTube comment section because those are the people that actually watch my videos and they know that I read my comment section and I can listen to that. And if they disagree with me, like, awesome. In fact, at the end of my 100% honest update review videos, I put a secret hashtag to say, hey, if you have watched this whole video, put this hashtag in. Then I can just go and search those comments. And the only comments that I'm reading are from people that have actually watched the video. And that is so great because then I can get that way I can get an actual like good vibe for how people that like actually feel after they've watched the video. And sometimes they still call me a shill, but at least they're saying it to me. And I love that. And I'm great with that. I love that raw, candid feedback that you don't get anywhere other than on the internet, right?
That is absolutely true. Do you read your comments on every video?
I don't read all of them, no. But I read the top comments.
Yeah.
And for my 100% honest update review videos, I usually read a good majority of them.
Gotcha.
Because I've built a really strong relationship with the Brawl Stars developers. Like after I posted that, I had 2 or 3 developers reach out to me and like wanted to discuss it. And so I discussed things with them. And so
that's cool. They do that.
Yeah, we've got a really good, strong relationship with them. And I love that. And so when I can watch those videos and I can actually read those comments of how people actually feel, then I can share the sentiment and I can be a voice for the community, even when I disagree with them. But I do that privately with Supercell, rather than make a big deal out of it, because that's not what I'm about on YouTube. I don't want to spread the negativity. I want to be honest and I want to share things with the developers that will actually improve the game rather than just be negative, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I asked you about the comments because I have one of like my team members who I I have on payroll to read my comments for me, and then to send like she probably sends, shout out to Ice Queen Salume, but she probably sends like, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 like relevant comments per video per channel, and I have 4 my way every day, and she reads them all because after the years after years after years, to your point, man, like the negativity, no matter how thick your skin is, man,
it'll get through it.
It does get to you. There's nothing like before you go to bed, someone just calling you an asshole. You know, like there's nothing like it. You know. And
I've been there, like for real, sitting in bed, just like looking at something, and you see something, and then my wife's like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna go take an hour and type up a massive response, and then delete it when I realize that it's not worth my time." But at least I got it out there. There's no shortage,
man. There's no. I don't care who you are. There's no shortage of people who hate you if you have any presence on the internet, right? And it I quit all social media. This is probably like 5 or 6 years ago. I quit all social media other than like my Ash, stuff. And I quit reading comments, and I feel so much happier, honestly, but then I have somebody who filters the good comments, or constructive, to your point. It's not all like, "Oh, Ash, you're amazing." It's like, "Hey, you got this wrong." I want to see that. I just don't want to see people like just telling me to, off myself or whatever, But you say here that you used to think you could handle it. You're starting to have an emotional affect your emotional health, and it makes a real downer when you're with your family. This boils down to your own demons, though. You have an eternal struggle between wanting to be honest with myself and wanting to be popular. Dude, this is a very honest statement. Not many people would have the guts to put this out there, right? I think we all have that. I think that plays into a lot of internet culture.
I think that anybody that says that they don't either don't have enough life experience, or they're not being honest with themselves.
yeah.
Which is, one of the two, which I know that might be an unpopular thing for me to say right here on the stream or the video, where people are going to be watching this and are going to think that they don't struggle with that. But I used to be somebody that used to think that I didn't care about being popular. I really did. And you know what? Maybe I take it back a little bit. It might have a lot to do with the fact that I do make a living on YouTube, which drives the necessity of me being popular to some extent, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there are people that don't, but at least for a YouTube content creator, I think the only person I can think of that hasn't experienced that at least a little bit is probably Lex.
Yeah. Well, I will say regarding you and Lex, right? Love both of you guys. I have, since I met you guys. And one thing, this doesn't really play into popularity or anything like that, but one thing I really, really, really love about you guys, and I'm sure I have plenty of this type of content out there too, is you don't give a crap about, like, how do I say this respectfully? I'm just gonna say it, but making cringy content, right? Like, first of all, to be creative, you're going to be susceptible to being called cringy content, right? But I love when you guys, especially both of you do your own things, right? So I'm not going to list off but I love when you play different characters and stuff like that. That is creativity, and it's entertaining, man. It really is. I like it, and I don't even follow Brawl Stars. I don't even know what a gadget is, and but I still love that stuff. And I applaud you for doing that. I'm wondering, I've been asking this now the last few interviews, and I feel like I should ask you too. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of Brawl Stars creators?
Yeah, so Mount Rushmore for Brawl Stars creators. So you mean 4 people in Brawl Stars that I watch or look up to, or
let me just say,
I've watched you ask this question to two other people, and I both times I'm like, okay, what does he mean specifically?
Let me put you in a very specific situation.
Thank you.
You're teaching a college class on whatever, Brawl Stars. And one of the things is going to be literally a Mount Rushmore, and you have to put 4 faces on there that really, in your mind, kind of define the array of content and the array of the best type of content that Brawl Stars can put out, that can be made around Brawl Stars,
It's a good question. Lex is so creative. I love that he is he can just so charismatic and just so good at the number of people that I have heard say that they feel like they can just relate with Lex Like, I used to think I had a special relationship with Lex in that sense that, like, when we had our first conversation, we were like immediately best friends and we were like kindred spirits.
Oh, you do.
But then I've heard like
saying,
18 different people say that exact same thing to him. Like,
what me and Lex have is special.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is Lex is just special. So I feel like Lex has definitely got to be there, and he's so just entertaining.
I agree 100%.
He's willing to
by the way.
really risk it when it comes to, or not necessarily risk it, but he's willing to make videos that might not necessarily like trend really well, but that are just so funny. He made this video. I can't even tell you what it is. I'll tell you off air, but he made this entire video about Brawl Stars, and it was so funny and so inappropriate that Danny would not allow him to post it on YouTube.
What?
And it literally
Danny,
to this
come
day
on,
is
man.
the funniest Brawl Stars video
I've
ever watched.
Clear it.
It was so funny, dude.
And man, that's hilarious. Well,
anyway, so Lex is there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I gotta put Wasim on there as well because he's incredibly creative. He's done some videos that like he's still somebody that is always trying to come up with new he's really ingenuitive when it comes to coming up with new ideas. He really understands YouTube, and he's still like really putting in tons of effort to make every video really good and awesome. So I definitely got to put Wasim on there as well. I really like Ray's content. Ray's very different in the sense that he's more about just being chill and just talking about the game. And like, I really appreciate that from him. And then it's so hard for me to pick a fourth because there's so many people that are creating awesome Brawl Stars content that I haven't.
Come on, man. Come on. Don't snub yourself, man. Come on.
I mean, I would put myself on there.
Well,
like, if I could put myself on my own,
yeah, you can. You can. It's allowed. It's allowed, man. It's allowed. That's a really cool, choices, though. I like that. I like that, you know, where we went there.
The cool thing about Brawl Stars content creators is that there's something for everybody. And there really is. Because there's a lot of pro players. Right. There's a lot of people that are willing to do like Ben Tim is just insanely good at the game and also does these wacky, crazy, funny things.
And he started with like Vainglory, didn't he?
Dude,
did he start with Vainglory?
I don't know what he started. I think it was Boom Beach, actually.
Okay.
But then you have like Nat with a Heart, who's like doing really awesome stuff on her channel, even though she might not have as many subscribers as other people I'm listing. But there's so many other awesome Brawl Stars content creators. There's literally something for everybody. You also have like Crying Man, who's just like really good.
Man, dude.
Dude, he's so good at the game. He creates like awesome pro content. There's so many people. Like
I heard he might be starting voice in camera soon. So
he's doing another channel for it. I don't know. I don't know. He might.
But you probably know better than I would. But yeah, I love.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything.
I love Crying Man.
No, he does have another channel out that covers Brawl Stars content with his voice on there.
Awesome. That is cool. Yeah, final question for you, Kairos. It's been a great chat, by the way. And I kind of want to end, I guess, a little bit, I hate to end on a negative note, especially given who you are, and this conversation has been great. But if you're, going back to being worried about Brawl Stars, to a certain extent, that downward trajectory, how do you feel about the future of Supercell games, I guess, as a whole? Obviously, Clash Mini, or any thoughts that you have on the future of games? I ask this because, A, all of their games are on a slight downward trajectory. Clash of Clans is still carrying the company economically. Their oldest title, or the second oldest to Heyday. And then they've killed every game they've come out with in the last 3 years, seemingly,
Yeah.
Furthermore, to add even to that, like Ilka's blog posts, he has a yearly blog post, the CEO and one of the co-founders, reading between the lines, it seems like, every year for the last 2 or 3 years, he's been like, this is do or die. We're going to make some changes. Or, I'm making a little bit hyperbolic there, but it does feel like they even recognize, even from the top down, that they need a hit, basically, or they need a bounce back. So any thoughts on the future of Supercell games?
Well, I don't think that Supercell as a game developer is going anywhere anytime soon. I think what is more pertinent to what you and I is whether or not their games will continue to be big enough for us to create content on it full time. And that is something that, maybe 10 years from now, it will be an issue. I don't think that it is an issue right now. The thing is with Supercell is that they have such high standards for their games, which is a blessing and a curse. There's a reason why they killed each and every single one of those games. But if they were a different game developer, there's no way those games would have been killed.
Oh yeah. No.
There's no way, because each one of them would have made the company money and would have built an audience. Would it have been as massive as Clash of Clans, Brawl Stars, and Clash Royale? No, definitely not. But they would not have been killed. They would have been able to make money, and I'm good with that. I do think that Supercell is going to release some bangers. I really do. I have faith in. I really do have faith in them, and that's not just me being like an optimist. It's definitely not me being a Supercell shill. It comes from the sheer passion that I gather talking with Supercell developers. When I go to Finland, one of my favorite things is just talk with the developers.
Yeah.
And I do see this, like the Clash of Clans community. The developers are just like, dude, they're so passionate. They have so much energy. They have so much excitement and love for game development. Same thing with Brawl Stars. I don't have as much experience talking with Clash Royale. And I'm not just saying that like that's not a way to cheap out of me saying that Clash Royale is less than the others. No. It's not. I just don't have experience with them. But I'm really excited about it. I do really like Clash Mini, and the Clash Mini developers, same thing. So passionate. And I'm not saying that passion is the only thing that you need for Supercell to release a good game, but it's clear that they have some of the most like the core thing with Supercell is that they take care of their employees. They're not a game developer that takes advantage of their employees, and just because of that, I can't see them not being able to like bring the best developers and continue making the best games. I just can't. We've seen like developers that used to be kings kind of fall from grace simply because they don't take care of their developers. I'm not going to name names,
Activision
but there are developers at Supercell that have worked at other companies that say, I'm never going back. I'm never leaving Supercell because this is the happiest I've been. And I love that.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to take a political stance on anything that like Supercell does or whatever or anything like that. But the fact that they take care of their employees, that alone speaks volumes to me when it comes to the company's long-term future. I think that's what it comes down to.
So you think that Mini's going to go global and Mini's going to be their savior of 2024? Is that a prediction?
I personally, and this is from every content creator that I've spoken with, this is an unpopular opinion, but I personally think that Clash Mini is going to go global. I think that they will release an update later, hopefully this year, that will be the last straw, if that makes sense. That will either be like, okay, we've put everything into it. It either goes global or not. The one thing that they really need to nail down right now is a satisfying progression experience. If they're able to make their progressions experience satisfying so that players want to come back the next day, this game's a banger. I don't know if it will be as big as Supercell's other titles, but I think that it would be a disservice to Supercell to kill the game if they can nail down a satisfying progression experience that actually makes sense for the game. Because when I play the game, I get hooked and I cannot put it down. Once I put it down, I mean, maybe this is because I'm maxed out and I spent so much money on the game. Maybe I don't have a reason to come back to it. Yeah. When I put it down, there's not like a big massive pull. Also, I'm not creating content that frequently on it, so that's another thing. But when I am playing the game, I'm having so much fun with it. The game is very different. It's played very differently than when it was first released.
Yeah.
And so anybody that's listening to this that has played it before and are saying, I don't know what Kairos is smoking, play it. And then you can form another opinion, because the game is way more strategic now. There's a lot more reason to place minis where you put them down. It's a fun game. There's a lot of strategy involved with it.
I am personally Clash Mini. First of all, I hope just for the creators, because as you know, there are so many awesome, high quality creators just waiting to explode on Clash Mini that I am most hopeful for them, because frankly, I tried Clash Mini And I don't think it's the game for me. Not a knock on it at all, but you know, whatever. Not every game's going to be for you, right?
Well, we saw your video on chess, and we know that you're not very good at it. So
this is true. This is true, my friend. Even though I will say I did beat the other two Clash creators in chess at chess.
Oh!
So, well, I didn't beat them one-on-one, but I had better scores over my chess rounds. If that makes sense.
There you go.
But that being said, I suck at chess. But apparently we all do. But I will say that Clash Heroes, though, I know that it was like dead for a while and they dropped it and then they were hiring for it and stuff like that. Like, I'm more of like a fantasy RPG type like fan or adventure RPG. So that's where I really hope that if it's not Clash Heroes, that they take like, I want them, my biggest hope, my biggest dream of Supercell at some point in the next 5 years is to have some sort of a more adult fantasy oriented type game to it.
Dude, I'd love an MMO.
Yeah, oh God. I don't think they'd ever do it, but I wish they would, man.
They've been buying
so many studios, development studios, that like maybe they can backdoor their way into an MMO, right? Like through that.
If they could, I would love it. I would love it so much.
My final question for you, are you passionate about Brawl Stars? Or are you passionate about YouTube and content, and Brawl Stars just happens to be a game that you like?
I'm not saying that I'm gonna play Brawl Stars forever, but I am loving the game. I am enjoying. I created a free-to-play series, and literally all it is, my whole goal is to max out as a free-to-play player as fast as possible. And so I am playing every single day, and this is the most fun I've had playing Brawl Stars ever.
Love it, man.
Like for real. But I am very I'm more so I just love creating content on YouTube. I honestly, like, when I was first growing, I was really into just like, how can I grow my channel as big as I possibly can? And I got to a point where I realized that I've kind of, I don't want to say I've hit my ceiling, but I'm very limited on my growth. My growth is very limited based off of Brawl Stars' success, and I've kind of become a little bit more relaxed with how much time and effort I put into each video. Part of that is due to the fact that I've hired people to help. But like for me,
shout out to the
helpers. I'm not really like innovating that much. What I try to do is I try to have like one really creative and different video idea like every month or two, or like have one big project a year. Like my Star Park game series was my really big project this year, and that was so fun.
That's cool.
But yeah, I just love it. I don't know. It's hard to, I have a hard time imagining that I would leave Brawl Stars or leave Supercell content, but as long as I can take care of my family doing this, and I can provide a living for other people to be able to help with the development of videos, then I'm pretty happy. I really am.
Well, it shows in the content, man, and it's been a pleasure talking to you for the last hour plus or whatever.
Dude, you too, man. You need to have somebody come onto this channel and interview you.
Dude, it is maybe sometime in the future, who knows, but it's a blast. I feel like I get a lot to, like, you know, well, the name of the channel is Chat with Ash, right? And I feel like it's a two-way conversation too, which is it's fun. I really enjoy it. Hopefully the viewers do as well, and I really, really enjoyed talking to you, man, so I'd love to have you back at some point.
Dude, for sure. Absolutely. Right. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody subscribe if you haven't already.
Check out Kairos's. I'll have all Kairos's stuff. His X account is still, I still can't get used to the X, man.
I can still say Twitter.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear X, I'm like, what? What is he talking about?
It's like, dude, he's posting adult material now. So I'll have Kairos's X. I'll have his mini channel, his main YouTube channel, and every other way to contact and consume Kairos content. Kairos, thanks again for joining me, man.
Absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Take care, guys.